What's up, listeners? You have clicked on another episode of The Spinoff Show. And on this particular episode, I have on a friend of mine that I've made a friendship with through the power of podcasting. So this guy is an amazing 3D ZBrush artist. His name, he goes by, is Dopepope. He's built up quite a following on Instagram. You can find him on Instagram at Dopepope. I'll replace the O's with zeros. You can check out a lot of his work. I've actually become friends with him through this podcast and through going to G-Fest every year, which is a Godzilla festival convention that happens every year in Chicago. So through the power of podcasting and through going to that festival, I met Mr. Dopepope, and he's a fantastic guy. I'm in a daily chat with him with some other Godzilla nerds, and I've been wanting to have him on my show. And with the recent release of Godzilla King of the Monsters, it was a perfect opportunity to bring on a guy that does a lot of work in bizarre creature and character design. He has a lot of Godzilla pieces out there, a lot of different kaiju pieces out there, but he doesn't only do Godzilla stuff. He delves into a bunch of other pop culture monsters and things along those lines. He's a fantastic artist, like I mentioned, but he's an even better guy, and I really enjoyed my conversation with him. Check out the great and powerful and talented Dopepope. This is the Jock Spinoff Show. Dopepope, you're back. What's up, buddy? Hi. How's it going, everyone? Man? Or just me. It's just me right now, but everyone else will listen later. How you doing, man? I'm good. You out still on the East Coast?
Yeah, Brooklyn. Through and through over here.
I can hear it in your voice. You have such a great voice.
Now, see, that's funny because last week was all about great voices.
Yes.
And you were talking about people with great voices, and I was thinking, wow, my voice is so shitty. I can't be the next one after her, after Ren. That was a great show, by the way.
Did you like that?
I did. It was very interesting. So, for more than a few reasons with it.
Yeah.
She was very interesting, and you guys were really funny together, I thought.
Yeah, it was interesting, too, for me, because obviously I'd done a show with a guy named Jason Dutch, and he's been on our show, and I've been on his show. He's from Voice from the Underground podcast.
Yeah.
And he messaged me, he goes, hey, you should have this girl on, Ren. I've had her on my show. She's a phone sex provider. And then within that day, she emailed me. I was like, hey, I heard you want to talk to me. So we emailed back and forth. And then I messaged, or I Skyped with her, just audio, for 5 minutes. And I immediately was like, oh, man, she's got quite a personality.
Yeah, she absolutely does. It's enticing.
But then other than that, I hadn't really talked to her. So then when I was about to record the show with her, not that I was nervous, but I was just more or less, I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know if she's going to do a bit the entire time. I don't know if she's going to we're going to have phone sex. What's going to happen? I don't know.
It seemed, at a few points, it seemed like that's where it might be going.
Right.
And I was curious, if you were going to take it there, or if she was. But I think it was perfect just the way it was. I didn't want to. How screwed up would that have been if it went there?
I wouldn't have let it go there. I would have. I don't want it to ever devolve into a show where we're doing a bit. I want it to be even if I have for instance, if I have a comedian on or something, they can tell a couple jokes, but I don't want the whole show to be jokes. And that's the same thing with her. If I'm talking to a phone sex person,
right,
I don't want it to be this whole flirty thing the entire time. I just want we're just talking.
It absolutely wasn't, but I don't know if you were able to hide it if you wanted it to come out more, or if you were purposely keeping it down or whatever.
I mean, I was definitely being nice and flirty, but I wasn't trying to make it, get too raunchy. Unless it was just a conversation about being raunchy, but I didn't want it to turn it that way.
Do you do a lot of editing to these shows after the fact? Did you have to go in there and cut a few pieces out, because there was too much?
I do zero editing. First off, Imran edits the show, but he doesn't. I tell him we're not editing anything. It's literally
just keeping it in.
everything just happens the way it happens. So I don't
like. Would there be a situation where you're like, "Holy shit, I have to cut this out"? And what do you think that would be?
Oh man, I mean, it's one of those situations where you know it when you probably say it.
Yeah, I guess.
You would probably, yeah. I mean, I don't even know what that line would be. I mean, I don't personally want to talk about where I work. So if that comes up,
okay.
Then I'd probably.
That was one of the questions I wanted to ask you. I don't know that side of you, but that's okay. You don't have to.
I'll tell you off the record. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's cool.
I just don't, like it's one of those things where I'm not. We do actually now make a little bit of money off this show, which is nice. It's not a ton. But I'm not,
good,
I'm not able to quit my job and do this full time.
Right.
So, anything can be isolated and twisted. So I just rather not have that go back to my employer.
That's absolutely fine. I won't push that, but I was curious about it though.
Yeah. I can tell you off the record. It's one of those things too, where, I mean, we've done, including this spinoff show, we've done like almost 300 episodes. So there's, you figure each show.
Crazy to me.
Yeah, you figure each show is an hour to 2.5 to 3. That's.
You guys never missed a week, right?
Yeah, we barely. I sometimes miss weeks, and Rug Boy and Ron will do it. But for the most part, I'm on everything. So there's, 700-800 hours of me talking out there. I'm bound to have said something crazy that could be isolated and be cut up into a way that makes me look bad.
Well, yeah. I mean, that goes without saying for just about anything out there at this point.
Right.
But for the most part, you guys are pretty chill. Like you don't.
Yeah, we're pretty chill.
Bash.
Nah, we don't.
Rug Boy does a little.
Rug Boy does, but we don't get too far on the end where it's, we're not discussing controversial things. At the end of the day, for at least the Jock and Nerd is mostly just pop culture stuff, and then this show can be a little more. We can get into some stuff if we need to. But I try to stay pretty neutral, and I try not to get, I am actually, in general, I am pretty neutral on most things. I'm more here just to learn. So I don't have, I have my opinions on things, but I'm more here just for the guests to give their opinion and then have a, chat about something, anything.
Yeah. It's really cool that you have this opportunity to do that because it's a great idea. I mean, I listen to Joe Rogan all the time too, but
yeah, he's my inspiration, man.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like the opportunity to talk to people, all different walks of life, and just pick their brain and just have a conversation. It's really cool.
Yeah, I like it. Well, tell it people. I know you've been on Jock and Nerd before, but tell everybody, just give a quick synopsis of who you are and what you do and all that crap.
I am a ZBrush artist, a creature
Are you fixing
designer.
something with your hands right now?
Oh, you hear that? I'm sorry about that. Yeah, fiddling with the 3D printed thing that I have on my table. So yeah, it was a visual aid for those who can't see shit. Yeah, I do create monsters in ZBrush, and now I'm starting to get paid for it. So it's a wonderful life for me because it's what I was born to do, and only now am I getting the recognition for it or the opportunities that I always wished I had.
Explain what ZBrush is, because I know what it is just because I've had you on the show, but before ever meeting you, I would have not known what that was.
It's a 3D modeling software, but it's more sculptural than, say, a box modeler like Maya or something, where you're just starting with a square and like adding a grid and pulling squares out, and it's very mathematical and very palette intensive. This is you just blob a piece of clay in the center and you start sculpting it as you would if you were doing it with real clay in front of you.
Wow.
So it's very creative. I find it to be more so than the other ways.
Have you ever done it in real life with
Not
clay?
so much, no. Here and there, picked up some clay and dealt with it. In school, I had to do it a couple of times. And for fun, I did it a few times. But no, I don't even know what I thought I would be good at this, but I just loved what I was seeing online of people using it and the results they were getting. And I just said to myself, I got to learn that. I got to get my hands on that. And I did, and I never looked back.
And how long ago was that?
2013.
2013.
So, yeah, time's flying. So it's a good chunk of years now. I mean, I wasn't that great when I first started, but I learned so much in just a short amount of time.
I mean, you are your stuff is really good.
Thank you very much.
Then again, you take my opinion with a grain of salt, just because I don't see a lot of other ZBrush stuff. Yeah. I'm not in the industry enough to know, what's good or not. But your stuff is really impressive to me.
I'm glad you think it's good, regardless, because that's important, But thanks for that. And I'm always trying to learn something new. Always trying to get out of my comfort zone and see what else I can work on.
So you mentioned something. You mentioned something that you were like, this is what you said something along the lines of, this is what I'm supposed to do. It was like what I'm meant to do. Like, when did you realize, first off, are you referring to ZBrush specifically?
Oh no, I was referring to,
art,
like making monsters,
specifically.
Okay. Like designing characters and monsters, because I've always been that person since I'm a kid, like a little kid drawing on the insides of library books, those pages that are white, drawing on those things, and never stopping that. And now ZBrush just actually gave me an ability to do it better than I've ever been able to do it before. Exponentially better, which really, it's just absolutely rejuvenated my creative ability and my creative motivation more than anything it has before that. And I really, I owe a lot to ZBrush for that reason.
And you've been doing this since 2013. And one of the big things I noticed, besides how awesome your work is that, you've built up quite a following, especially on Instagram. You got, right now it says 28,100 followers.
Yeah.
How the hell did that happen?
I couldn't tell you. It baffles me so much, to be honest, because I used to think, no one gives a shit about what I do. And I still kind of think that, but
clearly this is not the case, though.
I guess not. Well, when I'm saying, hey, I got something for sale, you think that 28,000 followers
would buy it.
Yeah, it would mean a lot of money, and it's sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, I'm grateful for anybody who feels the need to follow and likes my work enough to stick around, and I love it. It's great. I love the feedback I get, and I think it's motivating to, like, you see all these people that care about your work. So let me just keep posting. I want to keep posting and keep showing what I'm doing, and I love that. I love that aspect. It's definitely giving me a direct line to who cares about what I care about. So it's important for me. Has
it been just organic? Like, you didn't really do anything. Did something happen where it was overnight you got, thousands of followers, or were just this organic, natural growth?
It's like a combination. It's sometimes it's quiet, and then an image I posted a year ago, someone will just post it on their account that happens to have 1 million followers, and overnight I'll get 6,000 new followers, and that's happened so many times. And yeah, that's basically how I grew. I didn't buy any of these followers, that's for sure. I just don't see the point in doing that.
No,
but
you'd rather have it be organic, natural growth.
Yeah, it's got to be. I just feel so pathetic buying followers. I can see if a larger company has to go ahead and do that, but to me, it's mind-boggling that
How does that work?
Started with one follower and then got up to 28,000.
How does that work with buying? Do you know about that?
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
I knew it was not going to be something I would ever do, but I know people do it. I just don't understand it at all. Like, congratulations, you have a great big number up there, but none of it's real. It's all a lie.
Yeah.
And those people don't interact with you. They don't comment, or if they, I don't know, maybe there's an algorithm now that they send you fake comments. I don't know how it works. I really don't.
Clearly.
But that would be, what does that achieve? It just gives you, I guess, that false sense that,
you've made it or something. Yeah, exactly. I think the whole Instagram thing is, if it gives you the sense of, if people come to my page, they'll know right away that I'm credible, because I have more than 1,000 or followers. I have a number that's impressive. Your number 28,000. When I saw that, I went, I don't know anyone else that has that many followers. I know a lot of good-looking women that don't have that many followers.
That's crazy. You know what it is? It's I post Godzilla artwork, and I post Marvel comics and DC stuff, and that stuff goes viral, and people like that. They like that.
And it's hot stuff.
Yeah, it's fan art. People love that, and people come to it, and that's why. If I was posting just random generic monsters or original content, I guarantee you I wouldn't have a number nearly that high. It's the fact that I'm posting Godzilla. It's that kind of stuff. And I don't want to belittle my own work, but it's definitely that. Like, there's people in the industry that blow me away that have like not even 500 followers. You know, I'm not going to say I'm great because I have 28,000, but it is kind of nice. It's validating in its own way because I'm not in the industry as fully as I'd like to be. I'm working on that, and every day I try to get in deeper and deeper. But, you know, I guess once you're there, then you don't have to worry about what people think because you're already there. And, you know, you got that.
You had mentioned that you're now starting to see, like, some wins off of this stuff. Are you doing this full time? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. It is a relatively new development, but I used to be a photo retoucher for, like, a decade. Working with Q Studios in New York City there for like between 2000 and 2010. And then I started freelancing from 2010 till right now. But then the photo retouching stuff kind of withered out and got replaced with just the ZBrush work. And that was about 2 years ago. And that was a huge step for me. You know, and not having to rely on the retouching anymore to pay the bills and just full-time ZBrushing, freelance, whatever comes my way. And I don't even solicit. I don't look for work. It's all found me.
Really?
And to be able to do it, you know, pay your rent and bills and not have to rely on anything else but that, and be overwhelmed with jobs that you have to turn some down sometimes. So it's been great.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful thing.
I mean, now at that point, it's not even. I mean, it's still work, but it doesn't feel like. You know, it doesn't feel like the work in the traditional sense where you're doing a job that you really don't want to do.
Oh, man. I've had so many of those where I dread, like that feeling of dread that I don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
And it's miserable. Who wants to spend their life like that? You're absolutely right. I love what I'm doing now. I'm so happy to be doing it, and I'm doing it on my own terms, my own way. It's just, I can't even imagine having to go like if I had to, a 9 to 5 or however it used to be, you know.
How many projects are you juggling at one time?
It could be like 5 or 6.
Is that a lot?
Yeah, I mean, from one person. Yeah, that's
one person.
No,
one person.
For one person to work on 6 jobs at the same time. I would say that's a lot. And I thankfully these jobs are like the deadlines are not so harsh, so I could. I don't want to compromise any one job so that the quality goes down or anything.
Right.
So I'm able to like do work on one and then show them that. And while I wait for feedback, I get on the next one. And it's a lot of juggling and a lot of time management, but it's so far so good.
Well, I want to bring this up early so that we can either get this out of the way or talk about it. But I heard there was a little bird in my ear that mentioned you were talking to some studio, maybe a studio that produces Godzilla films. Rhymes with dairy. I'm not allowed to really talk about that. Okay.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
This is legendary, right? That you can neither confirm nor deny.
I can't confirm nor deny.
All right.
But it's really cool.
whatever.
It's very exciting.
Whatever may or may not be happening is really cool.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's really
Fair
cool.
enough.
It's very exciting.
I just wanted to make sure we talked about that if we could. If we can't, then I wanted to get it out of the way so that anyone that maybe knows you personally and is like, is he doing something for them? We can knock that out so that they're not wondering why I didn't ask you that early.
Yeah, that's great. And I'll be more than happy to talk about it further with you when I'm actually able to.
Yes.
But I know I did have the opportunity to visit Legendary Studios back in January.
Oh, wow.
And I get that's where the speculation started because I did post a picture and said, "Hey, you did. You know, look at me." Because who wouldn't do that? I mean,
no, of course. Yeah. As long as you don't. as long as there's no sort of legal ramification for doing that, I would 100% do that.
It was such a great experience, man. When I walked in, there was Godzilla posters everywhere, Pacific Rim toys everywhere. It was just like, this is heaven.
Where is their studio?
It looked like my fictitious alternate dimension place to live.
Are they in LA?
My home.
Are they in LA?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
I think Burbank.
Right. That's where they film a lot of stuff. Well, when people, okay, I'm going to get back into those, like when you're doing commissions for people.
Yeah.
So people want you to do exclusively the ZBrush stuff, right? For the most part.
Whether or not they want me to do that, that's what I'm doing. Like
okay.
If they, I'm just doing ZBrush, and then from ZBrush I could either make 3D prints or to have that turned into toys, or just render out 2D artwork. So even if they don't know or care if I'm using ZBrush, they just want a cool piece of art, I'm doing it in ZBrush.
Got it.
So
do you see a lot of people taking your work and turning into a 3D, like an actual toy?
Yeah, lately it's been a ton of what I've been doing.
Jeez.
There's lots of toys out there now that I worked with people to make.
Do you know what the cost is on turning your work into a toy? Or is that up to each individual person?
I don't know concrete figures, but I do know that it's up there.
It's expensive.
I work with Titanic Creations often, and I've done quite a few monsters with them already. And I know he lays out a lot of money to get this stuff done. And it's like thousands on top of thousands.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like 60,000, I think he said it cost to make a dinosaur or a kaiju.
Like one toy?
No, not one. To do the run of like 1,000, I guess. But still, they won't do like a really small run. And maybe the prototype does cost like 20,000 to do that one. To do that one to see what it looks like, and then move on from there as an additional 60,000.
Do they involve you in the process of the toy, like making the actual toy, or are you done once you create the ZBrush 3D? I don't even know what you call it. Yeah,
it's just a model. And yeah, I think I give them. I don't create, like, if it's going to be articulated, I don't do the joints or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So they take what I worked on, and then from there they run with it. And yeah, I'm not so much involved in like any of the making of it afterwards, the actual creation of the toy.
Got it.
And honestly, I don't know if I could be. I'm very interested. I would love to be there and see how it's done, but it would probably take up so much time. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be able to do that next job that it was like waiting in line for me to work on.
Another thing I got to bring up, and again, you can confirm, you can deny, you can do some. I heard you were working on some sort of X Plus toy.
Oh, that I can say. That's out there. Yeah, I did an Iris for X Plus, the Gamera monster Iris.
Gamera 3. Who? Yeah. I don't know how many people. Well. Actually, your fans will probably have watched Gamera 3, but the main, sure. I would say the mainstream audience in America, maybe 1%.
No
I've seen Gamera 3, who Iris is, but I know who Iris is.
So I think anyone who's listening because they know me, then they definitely are kaiju fans and they know Iris. But I would say most people wouldn't know what the hell an iris is. They would think it's a flower,
which it is as well,
part of the eye,
right?
But I did an Iris for them, and then I did an Orga for them, which I was thrilled that they called me back to do another model. And Orga, for some reason, Orga is almost finished and ready to be in stores. And Iris is, I haven't seen or heard from her, but I'm told she's being produced. So it's just.
How did they find you?
I got an email from them at random.
Okay.
Do you want to do Iris for us? And I was like, hells yeah, I do. So they just reached. I think they said they found me on ArtStation, which is wonderful.
It's amazing.
So it's a testament to social media,
right? I was going to say this may be even 5-6 years ago. I don't know when Instagram blew up, but I mean this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have happened this easily, at least.
Absolutely. It gets a bad rap, social media, for like turning everybody into materialistic zombies and like selfie people and stuff like that. But the flip side of it is like when you're really trying to get seen and promote yourself. You cannot do without it. And without this, I don't know if I ever would have got any of these jobs. And
I was just going to say, without this, you'd probably be still working a job that you didn't want to do, right? Like,
yeah,
would you be able to do commissions full time without social media?
No, of course not.
Right.
Absolutely not. I don't even know. You're right. I'd be stuck somewhere doing something I hate.
This would just be a hobby for you.
Yeah, it would actually, I would be doing it for sure, but it would be a hobby. But where would I be posting all these pictures? It'd be like just me looking at them.
Right.
It's crazy though, because we didn't have the internet like in the 90s, and I was still drawing. I guess I drew a picture, and I was the only one who ever saw it.
I was just going to say, the only people that would see your work would be if you showed it to friends or you took it to a con. And even like, that seems so outdated now. Like if you went to a con, let's say social media didn't exist. You went to a con, you're like, man, this is my big shot. I'm going to go to this con. A lot of people are going to see me. What? 100 people see you? 200 people? And then they see you, and then unless they talk about you, it's done. That interaction, that never happens again. But with social media, this is seen forever and ever, unless for some reason the Chinese take over our internet. I was
just watching that on Vice. I'm like, oh man, I hope they don't do that.
But this is, there is a lot of good stuff to social media. There's like as you mentioned, all the negative connotations, and there's a lot of that, but this has made your career.
Yeah, 100%. I can't even think about. I don't even have clients that I've met. They're in other states and other countries. I've never seen them or spoke to them. I just emails, and they see my work online, and then they contact me, and I'm doing the job, and we never meet. I would love to meet all of them because they're all wonderful people. After dealing with them over and over, they're very cool. Mm-hmm. But I mean, how many commissions I've done that without the internet would be impossible. This is just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And like if you're an aspiring artist, you have to have an online presence. And don't worry about likes and followers. Just keep putting your stuff up.
Right.
It's just for you. It's not for them until it is for them because you've made it. Like they just respect what you're doing and how much you care about it.
Right. So, yeah, you definitely. You're missing out if you're an artist and you're not posting your stuff online. In my opinion, unless it personally is just for you. But
which is great if that's what it is.
Yeah, if that's what it is. But if you want to see if this can go somewhere, online is a great presence.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to ask. So just so we can plug the Orga and the Iris when those do come out. What toy company is that? How can people find them? I know it's X Plus, but I actually don't know that much about X Plus other than when I see G-Fest.
As a Godzilla fan, X Plus has been like synonymous with really high-end, like detailed collectibles that are beautiful and must-haves, but they're expensive. Mm-hmm. So I only have like a handful of them over the years. Like I have a Huron and a Jiger that I love. They're
from
gorgeous.
Camera.
Yeah, they do really good stuff. There's so many I want now that I just don't have any room in my apartment for them, and I can't afford them anyway. So just think.
I know. I remember going to G-Fest last year. This is Godzilla Fest in Chicago, and discovering the X Plus. And I didn't buy it at the time because I was like, "Oh man, that's a lot of money." But I was just like enamored with them. I was like, "These are fucking beautiful." Like these things. But the thing is, that they're expensive and they're huge. And you want to almost keep the box too.
Oh, for sure.
So I was just going to myself, these are expensive and I don't have the space for them. But if I ever become filthy rich and have a room where it's just like my crap, I'm going to buy all the X Plus.
I've thought of that myself a million times. You probably need more than one room though.
Yeah.
There's so many of them.
They need to be displayed. Like it's one of those things where you buy, it's a beautiful piece of work. That's something that needs to be displayed. That doesn't just go in your closet and live there for the rest of your life.
Right. You want to be able to walk aroand it, see it from a distance.
You want to be able to show it off.
Yeah, for sure. That's crazy. There's so many that I want.
They're all so good.
Now that I do 3D though, I feel like
you can just make your own.
You know what? I'll just make my own. Yeah, exactly. I was at a show this weekend and they had the storyboard Godzilla vinyl. It was $1,000, and Thank God it was, because I would have bought it if it wasn't.
Oh my God.
If it wasn't 1,000, I would have bought it, but it was, and I wanted that thing so bad.
$1,000. Oh my God.
And I just said to myself, you know what? I'll make my own. I'll just make my own. I don't know if it'll be vinyl, but I can make my own and 3D print it.
Yeah, right.
It won't be worth $1,000, but it'll be what I want to look at.
Right.
There's something about, like, I know I made it, so it's not as exciting to me.
Right.
Because I made it. Like, I don't keep my work on my own walls. I'm not inspired by my own work. I'm inspired by other people's work. So
right.
I don't want to look at my stuff all day. I just looked at it all day. I don't look at it all night.
The way I can relate to that, and I've said this numerous times, but the way I can relate to that is people will go, man, you do a lot of podcasts. Do you listen to yourself? I go, no.
You never listen to your shows after?
I don't listen to them. No,
That's
I don't.
funny.
I'll listen to little clips here and there.
Yeah.
But I don't go back and listen to my entire show. The only time I've ever done that is the first ever episode, because I thought that was cool. And then after that, I was like, I've lived it. I don't, right. I'm not like, as you just said, I'm not inspired by myself talking.
Yeah.
I'm inspired by other podcasts and what they do. And I don't want to devolve all my time into just listening to myself. That seems kind of narcissistic.
But I thought maybe it could be, you're trying to hone your skills. So you want to hear.
I have done that. I do. So the thing I need to get rid of, and I'm working on it, but it's not been getting any better, is I try to not say like as much, although I still say it.
I must have said it 1,000 times already.
It's so natural. But when you think about it, you go like, and you're thinking to yourself, I sound like a Valley girl.
Yeah, to anyone listening right now, I'm really, really sorry for all those likes so far.
And I do a lot of ums. I do a lot of ums too. So those are things I try to work on, but I mean, we're having a conversation, whatever. I'm not going to try to be super proper, but if it's something where I can avoid saying it as many times as I do, then that's what I've tried to work on.
That's what I wondered, if you could go back and post and just delete those likes and ums.
You can. You can definitely do that. It might
sound weird, though.
Imran sometimes will edit that stuff out, but then it's just very labor intensive. And for
that's going to take all night to do.
Yeah, and for my show, I don't want him to have to do more work than necessary, because he's getting nothing out of it other than just posting it. Yeah. He's a nice guy and he likes doing that stuff, but I don't want him to have to edit my entire show. So that's another reason why this show is just unfiltered conversation. And the only time I've ever had to edit it is if I say something like that's factually incorrect, so like something stupid, like I mispronounce someone's name or something like that, then I'll edit that out. But other than that, really,
that's respectful, though.
Yeah. I've really never had the show edited. I was going to bring up, though, the only times I actually like listening to myself is I'll be going home late at night, and I'll like be at my place, and I've had a few beers or something, so I'm a little tipsy, and I'm eating. And that's when I throw on my podcast, just because that's the time when I feel like I'm admiring myself. I'm like, wow, this is awesome that I have a podcast.
You're just like,
I'm like, that's when I'm like happy. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You could say like, who gives a shit, man?
No, but you're kind of happy with your life, and you're listening to, like, you can't believe that you're doing something you've always wanted to do. That's cool.
What I'll do is I'll go back to each spin-off show, and I'll just play maybe 20 seconds of each show with the guests talking, and I just go back and I admire. I'm like, damn, I've had a lot of cool guests on. That's the only thing that I do. That's the only times I actually listen back.
Like, now that you're doing this, who would be like your dream get? Who would you love to talk to?
I would love to talk. I would love to talk to anybody. Man, that'd be
There's no one in particular that you like. I wish I could have this guy right now, or girl, even.
No, I mean, guy or girl. I'd love to have on. Let's see here. Every time Rogan has, here's the thing. Every time Rogan has someone on, he discovers someone that I go, I'd love to have that person on. But before that, I didn't know that I would want to have them on. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things where he discovers people that I go, oh, geez, that person sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not celebrity obsessed at all. Like, I don't really care.
Well, it wouldn't have to be a celebrity. It could be someone who's important to you.
Yeah,
someone you're very interested in.
I would love to have on, some sort of like people that work like marine biologists or more scientists or more people that were doctors. I would just love to have on really smart people. I had on one time Adam Morris, who's an environmental scientist, and that guy was talking circles around me, but I enjoyed it because he was just so fucking smart.
Right. Those are the great shows. Those are very interesting shows.
Right. So my dream gets are people that are just really smart. No one in particular.
Cool. When I listen to Joe Rogan there, he does a show a day, does he? Or a couple of times a week?
Sometimes he'll do 2 in a day.
That's nuts to me.
But he'll usually throw out 3 or 4 in a week.
He does have a lot of MMA fighters and stand-up comedians. And as I know I can't listen to that many MMA fighters and that many stand-up comedians, but so I do tend to skip a lot of his shows. Mm-hmm. But then when he does have that a scientist on or somebody outside of the realm of MMA or stand-up comedy, then I will listen to those, and I always love them, And I think he's wonderful. He's just really, really good. And I'm sure he's great talking to those MMA fighters and the stand-up comedians, but I'm not in that world, and it won't hold my interest for too long.
Right.
So I won't just go and listen to it just for the sake of listening to it. I'd rather go somewhere else and listen to something else.
No, I agree. I mean, his shows are meant to be pick and choose. You're not supposed to listen to everything because no one has as much. He releases 3-hour shows and he does 3 or 4 a week. I don't know who has the kind of time. Well, you might always, actually.
Yeah, I'm that person that has the time to listen because I can't. My eyes have to be on the screen, but my ears are open to anything, and that's why I love your show. I love the Jock and Nerd show, and I haven't missed an episode since I started listening to it.
Wow.
Back in 2016, I think.
Did you start listening to us because you knew us personally?
No, I didn't know you guys at all.
Oh, wow.
I just met you guys, and that's when I started listening. So, and I was so happy that the show was good because I didn't want to have to make believe that it was. Like I actually put it on, and I loved it. I was hooked immediately.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people listen to our show.
I know. You've said that many times. I think it's funny, and I get that, but it's a good show. It's very captivating.
That. And did you listen to the spinoff one as well?
Yeah.
The show you're currently on?
Not every single one, but I've listened to a few of them. Yeah.
Any of those stand out for you?
I'm treating yours like Rogan's.
Yes.
I read the caption, and if it's interesting to me, I'll plop it on, or if it seems like it could be interesting. But if it's something I'm just like, I'm not in the mood for that, I won't listen.
It's meant to be that way too.
Yeah, and no offense, because I know you only have a handful so far, but if you keep this up, as long as you keep up Jock and Nerd, you'll have a million of them in no time.
A million, man. Oh, man. That's a
lot of yapping.
That is a lot of yapping. We're at, you're episode 17 already.
Wow, 17 shows? Wow.
Of this, yeah. And but when I started
I'll go back and see which ones I missed that maybe I should listen.
Well, when I started this, it was just on a whim, and I went, I don't know how many people I'm going to be able to even have on. I at the time, I think I wrote out like 8 or 9 guests, and it's already evolved into this, and I have plenty of other guests. Like I'm not going to be running out of guests anytime soon. So
that's good.
It's cool, yeah, and I'm happy you're on.
No, I love this stuff. I'm happy to come on.
Good. I was just going to add one question on the spinoff. Was there any episode that you listened to where you were like, "Oh, that was cool"?
Well, yeah, but only because I know the guy with the Bilotti episode.
Yeah.
And I listened to August's show. And then the August Ragone show,
yes.
Ragone, I don't know.
August Ragone, yeah.
That was an interesting show because I didn't know him at all, and I found him very interesting to listen to everything he had to say. I was really interested in it, but I could totally see how a lot of people would just tune out to that.
Yeah, he's got he's a knowledge bank, basically, or not even knowledge, just like a history knowledge, just random facts, like. He's just a library, basically.
Yeah, and it's in the Godzilla realm, so I'm all over it, Mm-hmm. But I just didn't know that's who he was, and that's what he sounded like, and that's what he can do for an hour. It's just an hour and a half is talk that much about.
Oh, so much.
I found interesting factoids, behind the scenes stuff of movies that came out. 80 years ago? maybe
40, 50 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, 60 years. That's crazy to me that he's...
Yeah, he knows a lot. He was literally the type where I just threw in a nickel and he played 10 songs.
Exactly. Because I remember, like, you didn't talk too much. He did a lot of talking.
No. I just let him go. I
have to call you out, though. At one point, I think I heard you yawn, and I lost it. I was laughing my ass off.
I might have.
And I don't think you did it. Like, it was an insult to him or anything.
No,
he just couldn't help it.
Well, it was also so that show we were supposed to record that show. Like the day after we recorded it, we were supposed to record it at a decent hour, and I messaged him like, "Hey, you gonna be good for tomorrow?" And he goes, "Oh no, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. I was gonna message you, but we got to reschedule." And I go, "How about tonight, like late?" Yeah. And he goes, "Yeah, I can do late tonight." So it was, and he's on the West Coast, so for me, I think that we started the show at probably 11 o'clock my time. So by that time, I usually go to sleep by around 12 at the latest. So it was already kind of past my bedtime on a weekday.
Right.
So I might have been a little...
You do mention a lot that you're like either coming from working out and you haven't eaten and stuff like that. Like, yeah, that's really going to wear you out. And especially if you go late, you might have to yawn. You might have to.
I've been trying to now before the show... the day before not drink so that I come in completely clear-headed because I've done this show a few times hungover and I feel like I'm not as sharp.
That's got to be rough.
Yeah, I don't want to do that anymore.
Do you feel that being hungover though affects your voice? Not your willingness to speak, but your actual voice.
Sometimes it can. It more of just I just don't want to. As I'm getting older, it just affects my mood and my motivation. Yeah. I'm really going to consider to stop drinking for a while.
Well, and as often as you work out, though, I don't think that would be something that you would be opposed to. Because it does get in the way of exercise, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is I'm still a single guy in Chicago, so it is fun to be out and about and be social.
Yeah.
But, man, drinking sucks. It's just a money pit, and it's just it's something that I was like, man, I gotta cool it off. I gotta say, I gotta rationalize like when the time to drink, like when is like the big moments to go hard, instead of just like partying all the time. Just like save it for like the big moments, like weddings and things that you should be celebrating. Don't just go out and get drunk because it's just Saturday.
Coachellas and music events and
things that are big gatherings that you plan for. Not, hey, it's Friday night and you're out and your friends are at another bar. Go meet them up and drink some more. Like, go meet them up. You don't have to drink as a lot.
You have good intentions, but that's not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey,
let me tell you right now. I'm in my late 40s, and that still doesn't stop. It just gets worse and worse, and the hangovers take longer and longer. But I'm still trying to find that middle ground where I could chill out with it. And I don't drink during the week.
Yeah, me neither. I don't drink at all during the week.
Just the weekends. I'm one of those bingers on the weekends. It's just to let off some steam kind of thing. And I'm still doing I did it yesterday.
No, I'm the same way. I wouldn't consider myself an alcoholic because I don't drink during the week and it doesn't motivate me to be happy or anything. But when my weekends hit, I'll definitely enjoy a beverage or two.
Yeah.
And then you have a couple and you're like, man, I feel good. Let's just keep this. Like alcohol in small doses is actually pretty good. Like, it loosens you up. You're more open to having conversations with random people. You're just a better version of yourself, a more social version of yourself.
Until you
drink. Yeah, until you're not.
Yeah. And then until you're the exact opposite. You're the worst version of yourself.
That's the funny thing is like you become a better version of yourself. You're friendlier, usually nicer. Like I said, more social, and then all of a sudden you jump off a cliff and you're the worst version of yourself ever. But there's never like that middle ground where you're like, oh, maybe I should stop. It just happens sometimes. Hopefully, as I get older, I can figure it out. Maybe I'm figuring it out as we go.
I mean, your body is going to help a lot. But it's going to make it more and more painful, and then eventually you're just going to have to stop.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to cool it off, especially since now I'm going to Vegas at the end of in 3 or 4 weeks. So,
what's that for?
A bachelor party. One of my best friends is getting married, and he's having his bachelor party in Vegas. And
That should be something.
It'll be great. I love Vegas, but I work out a lot, but I don't watch what I eat as much as I should. So I have like a little like fat that I want to like get rid of before I go to Vegas. So I might cut out just drinking in general for the next 3-4 weeks.
Absolutely will help for sure.
Yeah. I'm going to see if I have the discipline to do that. Also, this past weekend I drank so much. Well, what I've been doing is I cut out beer.
I was just going to say, are you a beer drinker?
I love beer, yeah.
See, I don't. I can't stand beer. It just bloats me up. So I'm binge drinking vodka or tequila.
Well, that's
like
the problem.
Straight shots. You know,
that was the problem this weekend. Was my first weekend without beer. I'm doing no beer, no like. I don't really eat sugar anyways, but I'm trying to avoid sugars. So I was just doing tequila, water, lime.
Yeah,
and I was binging that.
Yeah.
Which basically made everything worse.
Well, you get drunk faster.
Yeah.
But it's a cleaner drunk, and you're not like pissing every 5 minutes.
That's true.
You don't feel like a big blob of beer.
But the thing is you're drinking so quick. At least in my experience, I was drinking it so quickly, like I would normally a beer, that I was drunk quicker, but not realizing how drunk I was because I felt like I was just drinking beer, and then
just fall off the water part.
Yeah, just up the water part, I guess. But the thing is too is my hangovers were worse.
Yeah, I guess your body's not used to it then, because I think now if I do the beer thing, it makes my body feels worse than if I did the tequila thing. But I'm used to doing this because I don't like beer that much. I barely touch it.
I really enjoy beer.
I'm just having one because it tastes good at the moment, but otherwise it's the hard stuff for me.
Yeah, I might just see if I can discipline myself to not drink for the next 3-4 weeks. I need to punish myself for this past weekend and just
go see more movies and stuff. Did you see the new Godzilla yet?
Yeah, we could talk about that. I've seen it twice.
You saw it twice. Okay, but you must have liked it enough to go back. So that's good to know.
Well, so it was planned to see it twice from the beginning because I was going to see it Thursday night regardless. And we got this offer from a very generous offer to get these free 4DX tickets for Godzilla. Dude. You know what 4DX is, right?
Yeah, I'm going tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, you are. So for those that don't know, 4DX is basically a movie ride.
Yeah.
It's in the chairs move.
You had seen another movie in 4DX. I remember you talking about it.
Yes, the Predator movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did that make that movie better or worse?
Better.
Okay, good.
But that movie's terrible.
I watched that movie the other night on HBO, and I was not impressed.
That movie's terrible. The 4DX was the only thing that made it worthwhile.
Oh, that's cool, though.
They blast wind. Have you seen a 4DX movie yet?
I don't know if it's called 4DX, but it was a Spider-Man ride at like Universal.
Oh, okay.
Years ago, but it was basically the same concept. Like they blew heat in your face and steam water, and my seat shook.
Yep.
I loved it. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah. So we got an offer to see it on 4DX, but we got a little impatient in terms of we wanted to see it Thursday night, and we weren't. The theater that has 4DX out here hadn't posted their Thursday night showings yet, and it was like Tuesday of this past week. So Imran just bit the bullet and was like, "We'll just buy 2 tickets for Thursday for a different, a regular showing in IMAX." So then we got the IMAX showing, and then like a day later, they posted the 4DX, and we're like, well, we're not going to say no to the 4DX either. So then we got 4DX tickets Monday. So it was planned, I guess, to see both. Okay. Overall, I mean, you can hear my show, but overall, I thought it was a mixed bag. I liked a lot of things, and I really disliked a lot of things. I think overall, the kaiju stuff, they hit it for the most part. Yeah. The rest of the stuff wasn't really all that intriguing, but I liked the kaiju stuff. I liked the mythology. I liked the personalities of all the monsters. I like what they're building towards. The negative reviews online were bummed me out because I knew it would affect the box office, and it did. So I know you saw it very early, right?
Well, that was my visit to Legendary. I had the privilege of seeing the movie back in January.
Was it?
And this was before any of the ads dropped. Like, I think one ad dropped, and all they really showed was King Ghidorah, throw his wings out, and that long, epic shot of Ghidorah standing before Godzilla, and and I remember I just cheered. I jumped up and cheered. When I saw the trailer, I was cheering. So that was the only trailer that was out at then. So everything in the movie was a surprise to me. I didn't see a lot of that stuff coming. And my experience seeing this movie in a theater with no one in it except me.
Really? It was just you?
It just had the whole theater to myself. And it wasn't an IMAX screen or anything, but it was still a movie. It was a movie theater is what it was. And I was alone in it watching this movie. And I was in awe of it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And maybe I'm a little biased because I was there in a different way than most people would have.
Yeah, I mean, you were there. You were there in a way where you were blessed and thankful, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was already giddy to be there and just like seeing a movie that people are dying to see, and I'm like seeing it before them. So plus it's Godzilla. Godzilla. I'm going to love this movie. Whether if it's a piece of garbage or not, there's no way it's going to be a piece of garbage to me unless they went back in time to 1998, but that's a whole different story. I mean, I saw the trailer, so I know what I was going in for. So I don't know. I just really do feel like they nailed this movie because it's a Godzilla movie. It's not a movie with Godzilla in it. It's a Godzilla movie. And I think Godzilla movies always have flaws, and this movie still has its flaws, but it has the flaws like all the other movies do. So I don't understand why people are getting so upset about those flaws. They're in every one.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
that's my opinion on this. But how'd you like the designs of the monsters?
I thought they were really well done. They were all somewhat. I mean, we already know what Godzilla looked like, and I'm cool with his design. He is a little fat around the belly, but that's fine. But overall, he looks good. I liked all the other designs. I felt like they were all modified to kind of a new modern level of realistic designs of animalistic titans, but they still were kind of true to the origins too of these characters.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, King Ghidorah, I thought was the best. I mean, and if anything, I think they made him look better. The wings have always been a little small for a giant monster like that. I don't know how those wings propelling this motherfucker. I like that they made the wings huge. I like that he's like walking around on his wings and like his three heads are kind of like snakes going through the city. Yeah. I thought that was cool. And I like that they made like his legs like a little smaller, but like his like neck and his torso are just gigantic. I don't know. He looked better. I think he looked better. And him flying, they made him look amazing. Yeah,
I totally agree.
What did you think?
Yeah, I loved how menacing and evil he seemed, and so immense, like such a gigantic presence.
Right.
Love that. And Godzilla, I love the design. I like what they did with the plates on the back and the extending the toes out a little bit, and all the subtle changes they were kind of needed. Mm-hmm. And Godzilla himself is looking good.
What do you think of Rodan and Mothra?
Never looked better, in my opinion. Rodan looked phenomenal, and Mothra looked gorgeous. I'm not big on Mothra. I never have been, but I really did enjoy Mothra in this movie. It probably wasn't that much of either one of them, Rodan or Mothra. I mean, there could have been more.
Yeah,
but
They never really gave us.
I want to see more. It's not like it's a problem.
Right. They never really gave us a clear shot at Mothra. So I wish we could have.
Dark. Yeah.
It was very blue, like just very blue.
Uh-huh.
I wish we could have seen like a clear shot of what Mothra looks like. But overall, I liked even the intentions behind her design. Rodan, as you said, looked great.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that they made. I mentioned this on the other show, but I'll say it again. I like that each monster had their kind of personality. Godzilla is this benevolent king that just wants balance. King Ghidorah is this invasive alien that is just looking to take over the earth.
Yeah.
And all the heads kind of have like different personalities, which is cute.
Which I loved.
Yeah. And then Rodan's just kind of this punk, right? I said on the other show, he's basically like a coyote or a hyena. He's just this mischievous motherfucker that just bounces from one side to the other. And then Mothra is obviously this very caring creature that is kind of an underdog. They made her super small, which is I liked. she's this underdog that fights for the good of humans.
Yeah. I'm glad you got all of that. Definitely. I'm sure that went over people's heads. So
I'm a huge Godzilla fan. So
yeah.
I've seen all these movies, so I picked out. I was like, oh, they're picking out all the traits from these Toho movies that I liked.
Yeah, I was really, really impressed with the monster action.
Mm-hmm.
So happy. I just, sometimes I do. My nitpicks are like, I wish there was more daytime stuff. Mm-hmm. Because Kong Skull Island really delivered on the daytime stuff, and it looked good. And I love when you get a really clear shot of these monsters, but it just wouldn't have made sense. Like, these monsters have screwed up the entire country that they're in, so much so that the air is just thick with soot.
Yeah,
because everything's been blown up, and Ghidorah's starting hurricanes just by flapping his wings, and it's crazy. Like, Rodan just flies over cities and they're completely destroyed. That's amazing. It's
That's
crazy.
Awesome.
So
yeah,
everything's just dark in the sky and gloomy, and I get that was the mood of the movie. But I do miss like those daytime scenes where you would see a lot in the Toho films. You get a clear shot of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What did you?
I miss when they just walk around town knocking buildings over,
the old school way.
I do really I just want to see one scene where they're just walking down the street knocking stuff over. It's just like for old time's sake.
Those were. I threw on some old Godzilla stuff after, and it is kind of amusing them walking around and just hitting buildings, like knocking them over. There was a scene I threw on Godzilla versus Destroya, and there's a scene where they both come head to head and start fighting, and Destroyer is just gigantic.
Yeah,
and Godzilla at one point, like, instead of using his arms, he just like side shoulder bumps Destroyer, just like boom. And I was like, this is so funny. Like, they're like so big. I'm just imagining like the men in the suits are so limited in how they can move that the best way they can fight is just bump into each other.
Right. And it's exactly why they didn't really do too much. So the big action sequence used to be them slowly walking through buildings, because that's all they basically could have done. So now that CG, they can make them do whatever you want, whatever you can think of.
Right.
So they don't have to go back to just knocking over buildings anymore, because it's not as exciting as it used to be. But that's kind of what I do miss that.
Yeah, that you miss that, and you don't get the shots of all the people lining up their tanks and that stuff.
My
favorite is the weird laser tank that was in every Toho era.
The maser tank.
Maser tanks, where they shoot the electricity at people. At the monsters.
There's a few of those in this movie.
Oh, is there?
If I remember. See, I haven't seen it since January. I'm going to go tomorrow, and I'm going to be excited to see all this again.
Well, and you're seeing it in 4DX, which will be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be so good.
4DX is a trip watching this movie.
But I can't believe how polarized the whole. I don't know if it's just the fans that are polarized on it, or if it's just basically the entire movie going.
I feel like the fans are very polarized on. I mean, I try to avoid it, but I saw a lot of stuff where the diehard Toho people are really upset. I've just seen a variety of different opinions on this movie.
It's so weird to me, because I don't know. Is this just the world we're living in now, where literally no one can be happy? This is happening to Star Wars fans, and it's happened to Star Trek fans. It's happened to everyone. The
only thing people are universally happy about is whatever Marvel puts out.
It seems that way, doesn't it? Right? I didn't hear anybody trash talk Endgame
to this extent,
or Infinity War.
People have their
hardly
nitpicks.
At all.
Yeah, people have their nitpicks, but you don't see people trashing anything Endgame or Infinity War. Whereas Game of Thrones and now Godzilla and as you mentioned, Star Wars, those things all get just fucking raked through the fire.
Yeah, and I was never really a Star Wars fan.
Me neither.
So it's really kind of interesting to see the fans turn on these new movies, and I just don't understand one way or the other, like why they're doing it. Every time a new one comes out, I go see it like everybody else, and I think it's as entertaining as any other movie that they put out. I know none of them are going to live up to the first three that came out in the 70s, but hey, I have no idea people will go crazy like that.
Well, I think people are very passionate about this stuff, there's this community on social media where you can easily share your passion or your nitpicks. I think a lot of people also do go to these movies and they have these high expectations of how it should play out because it means so much, and then when it doesn't play out the way they think, they get mad.
Right.
And I also think that people, it is fun. I think you get more attention if you bash something. I think that's another thing too. Is bashing something gets more attention than universally praising something. That the one what was that YouTube channel Cinema Sins, where they count out all the mistakes in movies, or Honest Trailers is a lot of pub, and that's just them bashing the film. So I think bashing things gets really a lot. Funny, they are funny, but bashing something gets more attention than being like, "Oh, this is great."
I do remember when the movie finally came out. I think I jumped online to see if any of the reviews were up, and the first thing I saw was a tweet bashing the movie, just about saying that it was the first one, the worst Godzilla movie ever made, or something like that.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
And then it almost implied that Godzilla 98 was a better film.
Oh my God!
It said something like, "Say what you will about Godzilla 1998, but at least it had Godzilla in it," or something like that. And I was so. That's the first thing I'm reading about this movie. I mean, I thought we were all dying to see this, and that's the first tweet I see, and that's the first tweet I was seeing for a while. That every time I did a search, that one would come up in the group, and it's very disheartening. And I feel like that movie deserves a lot better than most of what it's getting.
That's the thing for me about social media that I don't like, is when there's things that I like, and then you go online and you're hoping like everyone likes this, and then you see just a negative cry from a bunch of different people. It makes you just go, "Oh man, that sucks." Like, I remember thinking that when I was watching Game of Thrones, I had my criticisms of it, but each week I was watching, I was like, okay, this is fine. I'm not like impressed, but I'm not pissed. And then I'd look online and see what people were saying, and I was going, "Oh man, like this is ugly." Like this makes me almost not like the show, not even want to participate in the conversation anymore. Like literally after Game of Thrones ended, there was a couple days where I looked at some stuff, and then after about a week later or so, people would send me stuff about Game of Thrones. I wouldn't even read it. I'm like, I'm just done. I'm so exhausted by this negativity that I don't want to talk about Game of Thrones anymore.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, that was going to do what it was going to do regardless. Like, people were going to have their opinions on it. But then them leaving the Starbucks cups in the water bottles did not help anything.
No.
And it's
that just brought out all the trolls. At that point, then the trolls were on it.
But everything about that was like, look how obviously blatant that they just don't care anymore. They stopped caring, and it's so obvious. And I don't know, maybe you could read into it that way, or it's just a coincidence.
Yeah, I looked at it as just a mistake. I mean, it's a bad mistake.
Just a mistake.
But
it's the worst time to have that mistake.
Right. It's when you're under a mountain of criticism for people thinking that your show this season is terrible and you're botching everything, and then you throw in water bottles and Starbucks cups. It's just not a good look.
That show, as bad as that last season might have been, and I don't think it was that bad. But as bad as it was, according to everybody, it's still some of the best television you're ever going to see. Ever.
Right.
So, job well done. Even though you can't please anybody anymore. You can't please everybody. Somebody was bound to be upset about that ending.
I mean, they didn't stick the landing as well as they should, but I thank them for the seasons of television that they did put on screen that were amazing. That they did nail. That they nailed exactly. So, it is what it is. Quick. This is not even tangential to what we're talking about, but I got to ask, how the hell did you come up with your name?
It's I think I talked about this on the show, that I used to have a t-shirt company with two buddies of mine back in 2000. We just decided, hey, let's just do t-shirts. And I did the designs for them, and there was another guy who did the online presence. And created like a Flash store. This is how long ago it was that we made a store with Flash. And then we thought we knew what we were doing, and we bought all this stock, and then within a year and a half, it just kind of like crashed and burned.
Oh man!
But then everywhere I logged into to promote the site, like on websites and stuff, I logged in as Dopepope. So then after a while, people just knew me as Dopepope. And even though the T-shirt company, came and went, I still stayed online as Dopepope, just, becoming part of, the communities there, and would post my artwork as Dopepope. So then I became kind of like my handle.
Mm-hmm.
And it became less about the T-shirt company and more about like what new piece of art is he going to post. And then I just kept the handle, and everywhere I would go, whether it's DeviantArt, ArtStation, Instagram, I would just put it as Dopepope. And now it's that's who I am. Now I don't even tell people my real name. I'm just Dopepope.
Well, I like the name Dopepope. I mean, it's much easier to remember than whatever the hell your real name is, which I know.
So it's funny. I was wearing one of my old Dopepope T-shirts that actually just has the word Dopepope on it, and people don't know the origin that it was a T-shirt company, so they just think I like to wear my name on my shirt. So it's weird. I guess I never thought of it that way, but someone's like, you actually have your Instagram handle on a T-shirt. I'm like, well, it's a long story, but yes, I guess that's basically what I have.
You actually, so just for reference for anyone that's listening to this, Dopepope was on Jock and Nerd 207, which guess what? When did we recorded that? Do you have any idea?
I think it was the beginning of the year, but like 2 years ago.
Yeah, right? So it's February of 2018 that we released that show. So it's been almost a year, almost a year and a half since.
Yeah, okay, that seems right.
Since you've been back
my
on.
life is completely different.
Right?
Since that.
You're completely different since then.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even live in that apartment anymore. I was living with my girlfriend at the time. We broke up.
Yeah, think about where you've been. Yeah, since then.
Yeah,
because
it doesn't seem like that long ago, but
no.
shit happens.
February 2018. Where the hell was I? I don't even remember.
You were on the show.
Yes,
I do remember you were on the show, but I also remember when it ended. We were all like chit chatting, and you said like, I gotta go, guys, I got shit to do, and you were out of there real fast.
That's usually how it goes.
That helps you remember where you were. Yeah, I guess.
Well, it's because Imran and then Ruggs are adults and have lives, and then I they can hang out and hang out at home and chit chat. Usually we record these on Thursday or a Friday night, and I'm like, I gotta get out of here. Like
he's got this studio in his apartment, right?
Imran does, yeah.
Do you? Or you just sitting on a laptop somewhere?
So no, I will record at Imran's occasionally, but for the most part, I got a mic and a mic stand and headphones, and I plug it in, and it sounds fine.
Then you're like you're like a desktop computer?
Yeah, desktop computer.
Oh, cool.
I'm just a desktop computer in my place, in my room, plugged into the internet, and just using TriCast, and it records both our audio on different tracks. And then once this is over, we pay for this, and then I send it. It automatically, Imran can access this. That's why when you're looking at TriCast right now, you see the nerd. This is actually Imran's account that I'm recording on.
Right.
And then he can just access the files and throw them up. Edit it and throw it up. So it's the internet's fucking amazing, man. Me and Imran do podcasts. Me, Imran, Ruggs do podcasts from 3 separate locations.
Yeah, and it sounds really good.
Yeah, it sounds fine.
It sounds like you're all in the same room.
Yeah, a lot of people think we're in the same room, and they realize, for the most part, I maybe record at Imran's maybe 5 times a year, if that.
I guess you live close enough to get there.
Yeah, I live close. The only reason now I actually would go to his place is if we have a guest that's in town.
Yeah.
Or if I'm doing a spin-off show, and I've done this before, where the guest doesn't have any sort of way to do a podcast with me, then we'll go to his place, and he's nice enough to allow us to record in his studio. But
nice.
Other than that, yeah, I'm remote, and it's just the power of the fucking internet.
Are you guys going to do any more conventions coming up?
Oh, so we were
with the press passes and like interviewing people and stuff.
So we were at this new one. It was I gotta look up Comic-Con Revolution. I'm just making sure that I get this right. So we had a
guest.
Yeah, we were at the Comic-Con Revolution in Chicago this past weekend. me and Imran got press passes, so we went and we checked it out. So it's a new convention. So I think this was their first year. It's a bit smaller, but from what I've heard, it's more focused on the artists and not so much on having celebrities or pop culture stuff. So yeah, it was a smaller show, but from everyone that we talked to,
Mike Zeck was there, no? Mike Zeck?
No, I don't know if Ming Chen was there.
Ooh.
We saw Ming Chen and we saw Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh, nice. That's very cool.
But
did he have a snake with him?
No snake. I think he's done carrying around the snake. It was cool though. I mean, we walked around. I met this, or I reconnected with Andrew Gildy, who I've had on the show. He's an independent comic book creator, so that was cool. I've never really been. I'm kind of spoiled. I did San Diego Comic-Con in 2011. And
what do you mean you did it?
I went there
as a spectator?
I went there as a spectator.
Not as like a press badge or anything.
No. Okay. They wouldn't allow me as a press, especially back then. I was a freaking loser. Yeah. So I'm kind of spoiled because I did that. And have you done Comic-Con over there?
No, I've done New York Comic-Con quite a few times.
Sure.
But not San Diego.
So
I'm dying to get into it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so big, and there's so much mainstream stuff, and they have so many amazing panels. And the thing that puts it over the top is they have this thing called Hall H, which is where they do all their mainstream movie studio and TV show panels, and you see footage from movies that are being made that aren't being released for another year, and they bring out all the cast. So once you do something like that, or once you've seen something like that where it's like the pinnacle, it's tough for me to like get into doing the local Chicago cons. And Chicago cons are okay, but it's not to that level. So I'm just kind of spoiled. So every time I go to a con, I'm just like, it's fine. But I don't really get excited anymore.
Yeah, they do. They all start to become the same thing.
That's more what I'm thinking. Yeah, it's once I've gone to one.
Yeah.
Unless I'm there to like see some new art or
something specific that you're dying to see. Like I would have loved to have been there in Hall H to see that first Godzilla trailer. Like I know Lenny was there. Maybe I think Larry was there. Maybe, and these guys got to see that. That's awesome. Like that, I would have gone. I don't think I would have waited on the lines that I heard they waited on a 2-day line to go see that.
You got to wait
That's
a while.
That's insane to me. But hey, they did it, and it must have been exhilarating. And that's the kind of stuff you can't buy.
Right.
But if that wasn't there, and any old and like I don't know whatever other movie was there, if Shazam was there, that's something you would care about.
Right.
I don't know. No offense to Shazam, I haven't seen it yet. It could be awesome.
It's actually a good movie. You should check it out.
Yeah, I've been hearing actually it's not bad. So I'm looking forward to it. But I'm just saying, like it's not something I would get all excited about. Not like a Godzilla movie. So.
Right.
Then it's just like another big show, and if it's too crowded to see your feet and you're stuck in the middle of it all, it could be a pain in the ass.
It can be.
But as an artist, as an exhibiting artist, I would like to have a table there and just feel that show's pulse, because they say that's the show that started everything. So.
I mean, it's super mainstream now, but it's just so big. I mean, it's when you're there, and this is 8 years ago, so who knows? It could have changed since 8 years ago. But when I was there, it just felt like this is the pinnacle of nerddom. Like
pretty much.
This is where you have. It's like making the trip to Mecca or something like that. If this was your religion,
Yeah,
it's like you got to do it at least once. So yeah. So to answer your question, we did Wizard World last year, which runs a con in Chicago. I'm sure Imran will apply again this year.
I think that's cool that you guys get to do stuff.
Yeah,
like that. I hope you get to do more of them.
It is cool to get the press pass. I mean, as much as I have dogged cons by saying San Diego's the best and nothing's the same, it still is really cool to walk up there and get a press pass. For a podcast that me and Imran decided to start 4 years ago just on a whim. I was never would have thought.
No, yeah, it's definitely a step in the right direction. Mm-hmm. It's very validating, I'm sure, but at the same time, it's like, oh shit, we're doing this now,
right?
Like we're powerful,
right? I don't know how powerful we are, but we do. We're blessed.
The press pass power.
Yeah, we are blessed.
You'll be at G Fest though. I guess that's really the next show I have next is G Fest. In July. I'm coming to your hometown.
Yeah. I'll get to see you again. Are you how you feeling about G Fest?
I'm always excited to go to G Fest. It's a fun show. I love seeing all the Godzilla peeps, the artists. They're all like really good people, and I think it's that camaraderie that makes me want to go more than anything. And the people that come and buy my art, thank God for them. You know, they're awesome, and I'm happy to be there to sell it again. But you know, I think it's mostly because I just enjoy the company of my friends that keeps bringing me back.
How many years have you been doing it?
This will be my third.
Okay.
I don't even know. Maybe it's my fourth. I'm really bad at math.
I've gone. This will be my fourth year going consecutively. I mean, I enjoy it because I enjoy Godzilla. But I'm with you, and I'm not selling art, so obviously, you end up making your money back?
Yes.
Yes. Nice.
This is one of those shows that it's my show. It's like I feel right at home there because it's Godzilla. I'm Godzilla. They're Godzilla. We're a perfect fit, and I love being around everybody. It's crazy. Everybody in there is selling Godzilla stuff, but everybody seems to be getting a fair share of the customers.
Right.
Imagine that anywhere else. Like it just seems it just works. I can't imagine that happening anywhere else for any other kind of fan base. Like imagine every artist selling Batman art.
Right. And it's coming away at least either breaking even so they had a free vacation,
right,
or making money. That's amazing.
It's weird how you could fill a room with Godzilla artists and still everyone has a very particular style, or a way that they draw Godzilla and whatever else they do. But they're being really strange this year. What you can bring and what you could showcase, and it's very odd to me. And also the behind the scenes of how the shows run, and it doesn't seem like it wants to expand.
No, it doesn't. Like
other shows, and I just don't know enough about why that might be. Maybe if I knew more, I could respect their decision making. But I don't know. It seems like the kaiju genre in general is blowing up, and you think G-Fest would be blowing up with it. But it seems like they're struggling to stay small.
Right.
And they might have their good reasons for that. But at the same time, I feel like maybe they're taking it out on the artists. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do many more shows there. I'll feel it out this year. And I'll miss people if I don't come back. But I hope I always have a place there. I hope I'm always welcome back.
I think the people that run it they're comfortable with where they're at. They don't want to expand it. They've run it this way for X amount of years, and frankly, to expand or to do more is a little scary. So I'm sure they're probably let's just keep it the way it is. I will say though that the biggest thing, I echo your thoughts. The big reason why I come back, besides being a Godzilla fan, but I mean even more so than being a Godzilla fan, and it's because of this podcast, but it's because of guys like you and John and Lenny and meeting Larry, and then unfortunately Nick's not going to be there, but just meeting you guys. That's the cool thing, is like this is my one time a year to see all these guys that I talk to in a group chat, daily about Godzilla with, but never get to actually see until this time, one time a year.
Yeah, it's really nice that they've done that, and It's shit. I've only been doing it, I think we figured out it was 4 years. They've been doing it for 25. And it was really, really small back then. Only the last 5 or 6 years now has it been as big as it is. But I think it's wonderful that they were able to put this together and keep it going for so long, have it grow to something this great, and then to make really close friends and meet good people there. I always have such a great time, so I really hope I can keep doing it. I look forward to it.
Do you?
It's a great experience for me.
Do you stay at the same hotel where it's at?
I stay, pretty much on top of it. I'm right next door.
Okay.
At the other one, because I think every time I try to book a room, they're all gone. I'm like, damn.
That's the thing.
They're to be right there.
They're at capacity every year.
Yeah.
So you wonder with the mainstream, and hopefully
can they even grow? Yeah, but
I'm saying they can grow. My argument would be is that clearly the demand is there, and with this new mainstream push, I wonder if they've ever thought about moving it out into a bigger hotel or something like that.
Yeah, that would be it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. It seems like it's bursting at the seams in this current venue. Mm-hmm. And if they want it to expand, then that's going to entail tremendous change, like complete relocating. And I'm sure that's the logistics. The logistics of that are insane.
Do you have other stuff that you can sell besides Godzilla?
Yeah. I mean, I do Comic-Cons a lot.
Yeah, and that's where I'm going with that too.
5 Points. I do like a designer toy show. So I'm trying to integrate more 3D printed stuff and toys into what I'm selling. So little by little, I introduce like a new 3D printed bust of Marvel, DC characters, or something original, or something like. And if there's a toy out that's actually produced by a toy company, if I could have that on my table, I'll try to have that as well. Yeah, and I do a lot of art, not just Godzilla stuff. I'll do whatever interests me, like Marvel. Usually the villains are the monstrous characters from Marvel and DC, or old Hollywood movies, stuff like that. I have a lot of that stuff. Started doing stickers.
Stickers, nice.
Little silly little impulse buys and stuff.
I was going to ask, how well do you do at other cons?
Pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good. New York Comic Con is always great. That's just a wonderful show.
So you're always making money off of these things.
Sometimes I have terrible shows.
Really?
Sometimes if it's a show I've never done before, it's always a gamble. I don't know if it's going to be my thing, and it's never the case where I'll be exhibiting and people that come over and see my work will look at it and they love it. The response is always good, but people don't know who I am really. They're not coming there to see me. They stumble upon me.
Right,
no one's coming to see Dopepope. They stumble upon Dopepope, and then from there they like me. So I get a lot of that. Like people come back 2 years later and say, "I remember you from last year. Your work is fantastic." I get a lot of that.
Gotcha.
So that's why it kind of pays to be there, because they remember you. If you're good enough, you're memorable, they come back looking for you. But if you're not there in the first place, then
you'll never be found.
Missing that opportunity.
Right.
Yeah, but I definitely don't have that name recognition where, people are coming for me and lining up for me, because that's not happening yet. But I'm working on that.
Gotcha. Yeah. Do you have like a specific strategy? Was that your phone or mine?
No, that was mine.
Oh, okay.
I thought I put this on mute.
All good, man. Do you have a specific strategy for each con that you go to? Like, I'm going to bring this. I'm gonna be Godzilla heavy here. I'm gonna be Marvel heavy here. Or do you just bring the same stuff to everything?
I try to minimize it. Well, for one thing, it's like how much can I possibly carry?
Yeah.
A lot of times, if I'm getting on a plane, I can only carry so much, so I got to keep stuff to a minimum. But yeah, I mean, I have a banner that's just for G-Fest because it's Godzilla related, and then I have a banner that's just for Comic-Con because it's got the Marvel and DC guys on it. But for the most part, I guess I have 2 portfolio books, and I've been bringing them both because basically, if you're at a Comic-Con show, there's always a Godzilla fan, and if you're at a Godzilla show, there's still a comic book fan. So if you just put it all out there, you'd be surprised what people like and what they'll buy, and yeah, just show them what you got, and they're happy to look through it. I mean, I sell the weirdest stuff, the stuff that I think wouldn't sells, and then the other stuff that I think would sell like hotcakes. At some shows, no one even looks at it, and then the next show, that's what moves. You can never predict it.
But do you notice that there's always Godzilla fans at every con you go to?
Yeah, man. My Godzilla stuff sells really well at New York Comic Con. That's because most people don't have that.
I was just going to say, you're probably rare.
Stuff. Well, Godzilla's gotten popular, so more and more he's starting to appear. But no one has a Godzilla portfolio like I do at a Comic Con, at New York Comic Con. They don't. So I do get people coming over like, we heard somebody's over here with a lot of Godzilla stuff, and boom, one guy bought like 20 prints from me.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's like, that's awesome. That's what I'm there for. And then people like that I do obscure ones, the ones that don't get love usually.
Yeah, right. Because then that makes it more unique, especially at I can't imagine. Again, you mentioned Godzilla being more popular, but I can't imagine you're going to go to a con, a New York, not a Godzilla con, and find an Orga or
right, exactly.
Giron from Gamera, who's drawing that? You are.
Yeah, exactly. and if they are drawing it, they're not doing it the way I'm doing it.
No one's doing it the way you're doing it.
Crazy, hyper realistic 3D sculpture of it. So even if they are doing it, I still stand out. That's why I felt very confident about doing these shows in the first place. I really felt like I come up with a look and style that it doesn't look like everybody else in the room. Mm-hmm. So that could shoot me in the foot, or that could really help. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. Mm-hmm. But no, I've never had anyone just dismiss my work. They always, whether it's their thing or not, they always have this look on their face like, what the hell am I looking at? This is really interesting. Wow, I can't believe, how do you do this?
That's the reaction I have, because I don't know shit about art, is when I look at your work the first time, I go, wait, he does this? This isn't a team of animators doing this?
Right, exactly.
Wait, he's just doing this. What? How?
Yeah.
How long does it take you for a typical project?
I can get one done from beginning to end in a day.
Holy shit.
If I have...
how many hours in the day?
Time. It'll take... the last piece I did was the Batman Who Laughs. Lenny suggested I do it because he was cool looking, so I did it. Mm-hmm. And I started at 9 a.m., and by 6 I was done with it, but then you have to render it. That's when the rendering process starts. And my computer crashed, so I couldn't do it. The next morning I woke up and rendered it, literally ran to the printers that afternoon, got them made, and then did the show the next day. I had basically 24 hours, it was done.
Holy shit.
From beginning to end. But it was just a bust. It was not a full body. Mm. Full bodies can go on and on and on. It depends. If it's a full, King Ghidorah would take me. It's going to take me months.
Oh, you just have the heads done, right?
Yeah, I just got the heads done, and I rendered out a couple of prints for the heads. But if I'm going to do the wings and the body and the tails and the claws, and then you get into the scales.
Yeah,
we're talking a long ass time.
Are you looking at a picture of King Ghidorah as you do it?
Yeah, I'm looking at tons of pictures. Yeah, I got them all open on a second monitor, and I'm just constantly staring at that stuff, seeing where it's supposed to go. And before the movie's out, you don't really have good reference. I'm using pictures of toys, and the sculpt doesn't necessarily match what's on the screen.
Right.
So, in the movies, because they're probably working on sketches too. They don't have the movie stuff either. So that's when you see, oh shit, this looks more like the toy than it does the movie stuff.
Right.
Then the trailers come out, and you start getting better shots. So then I have to go in and make changes.
Then you have to screen grab the trailers.
Yeah. And at some point, I just don't care anymore. I just want to do what I think looks good. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of that going on. It's a struggle in my own head. Do I want it to be movie accurate, or do I want it to just look cool and be mine? Mm-hmm. It's a little of that going on for everything I do.
Mm. I'm looking at the Shin Godzilla you have up. How long did that take?
No, that took a long time.
Because that's super... his design in the film is super detailed.
Yeah, there's so much detail in that thing. That's why I really respect that design, as weird as it is. When I first saw it, I was baffled by it. I didn't know what to think of it. Mm-hmm. But, with that little beady eye and his little, giant chicken legs, he looks like drumsticks of cooked chicken. That's what his legs look like.
Yeah, exactly.
But the more I got into it, the more when I started sculpting it and started to have to understand what I was actually sculpting, I couldn't believe how much detail was in that thing and how much they put into it, and I was really impressed. So I do have a heartfelt respect for that design. But yeah, as I was sculpting it, I sculpted all of those crazy nooks and crannies you see all over them. I sculpted those by hand.
Oh, fucking
hell. I think that took me 2 months.
Oh my god!
Of hours at night, not 2 months of 12-hour days, but 2 months of a good 6 or 4 to 6 hour days of just that.
Will you? So, for instance, a project like that, will you just work on that, or will you do other stuff at the same time?
Oh, it's usually. I think that was that was something I was doing for G-Fest, because it was my first G-Fest show, and that's what I was doing for it. So I think I was just working on that. But I might, if I have jobs, I definitely have to put in my job time, and then if I have time at the end, I can do stuff for myself.
Will you do, for instance, let's say you're juggling 5 jobs. Will you do one job first, get that done? Or will you start one job, maybe do a couple hours on that, and then start the other one, do a couple hours on that in the same day? Or how does that work?
Yeah, it's a bunch of that. I could be like, I'll spend one day on one job, bring it to a point where I could show the client and wait for feedback. And then while I'm waiting, get on the next job. But I think they're all at various stages of momentum. I can't just start one job and then finish it before I start the next job. They all have to be in motion together in different stages. So, but I very rarely do I do multiple jobs in one day. I prefer to dedicate a full day to something so I can get a good chunk done, and then the next day jump onto something else.
And then how many days a week would you say you're working on these jobs?
7.
So every day you put in some time.
Yeah, every day I'm putting in something. Like when the weekends roll around, I try to minimize it so I can get out there and have some fun and enjoy my life too. But if I could bang things out in the middle of the week, I will, so that I can play on the weekends. But I'm like, I don't really, like, if I know I have it's too much to do, and Saturday and Sunday, those are the days I could get a ton done, then I'll go and have fun on Monday and Tuesday, you know. The weekend is not as important.
That's not a thing for you anymore.
It like whenever I get a break is when I get a break. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is.
It's so funny that, like, at least in our society now, you know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is considered the time to play, but every day is just the day. Like it shouldn't matter, but because we were so structured in working a normal 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and the weekends you have off, that every day is, you know, it's there's this, everything's pointed towards you should have fun on the weekend, and the weekdays are time to work.
Right, and as much as I don't want to adhere to that old way of doing things, where the weekend is just another 2 days, but the rest, like most of my friends though and family, they still have to, because they have that normal 9 to 5 thing. So they're out playing on the weekends, and I want to be out playing on the weekends because they are. Right. So I still kind of have to stick to it, whether I really do or not.
I 100% agree.
I forget what day of the week it is all the time, because it's not as important as it used to be.
100%. I in my old job, I was working a lot of weekends, so I would work weekends, and then, you know, I'd have free on a Monday night, and people, you know, obviously are working, so they wouldn't want to do anything with me. So then I would, you know, after work on Saturday or Friday or Sunday, I'd go out. I'd just be exhausted. I'm like, this is the only time that I can go out and be with my friends because I want to play. So now that I have a new job and I'm working more normal hours, Monday to Friday, and it's just such a, you know, going into my career, I was like, I don't want to be like anyone else, and I want to do my own thing, and I want to work the hour, you know, I want to do something different. And now I'm like, I like having this normal 9 to 5 job. It's just so funny how things are structured so that even if you, like you mentioned, even if you have hours that you can work, you know, the days don't matter. It's still, the most of society is structured in a way that they have to, the fun is had on weekends.
You kind of want to have fun when everybody else is having fun.
Right. It's not fun to have fun by yourself.
Yeah. Hooray, you're having a great time on a random ass Tuesday afternoon and no one else is. I mean, that's fun once in a while. Right. If that's the only time you can do it,
it can get lonely.
Absolutely.
It can get real lonely if that's your fun. But I mean, I'm happy for you though, because as you mentioned, I mean, even just when we last spoke, as far as this podcast, you weren't doing this full time, right?
I don't think so. Yeah. Even back, I know I was just getting like good jobs, but I was still getting the photo retouching work too. And I remember the last gig I was doing for photo retouching, I was working with a client. I was getting the same job every year. You know, it was a big job, and I always looked forward to it. And it was a high profile job too. And that one year, I was like, I haven't heard from them. It was like the 9th year in a row. And now this is year 9, and I'm like, I haven't heard from these guys in a while. I wonder what's going on. Next thing I know, I'm online and I see I see what my job would have been, that it's already done and it's being advertised already. And I'm like, hey, I didn't do this. Have I been fired? Like I was basically let go without being told. And I found out by just encountering it online. It was kind of shitty. So I that's when I realized, like, wow, that's my last good client. This is going to suck if I don't get them back. And then little by little, I started getting more ZBrush work, and now I don't even want them back.
Right.
Like if I ever get them back, I kind of tell them I can't work for you. And I haven't heard from them, and they haven't heard from me, and that's that. We went our own ways, but thank God I'm able to do what I'm doing now, not have to rely on that anymore. But that was a weird way to be let go. I tell you that.
Yeah, that's weird. You just all of a sudden, oh, that job I'm supposed to work on is now out there already. What the hell?
That's my job.
But are you?
They were RuPaul's Drag Race. All the drag queens. That's who I would retouch all the drag queens.
Oh, really?
And I did that. I did that every year for like 9 years. And it was a great job. Like those drag queens are so much, they're so visually interesting. So I would have to make them, clean them all up and make them look beautiful and stuff. And it was fun, but it was a big job and it paid well. So when I was already looking at these drag queens online already worked on, I was like, my heart dropped, like, oh no, I've been fired.
Look how far you've come from retouching drag queens to now. Designing.
That's actually one of my favorite jobs. I really like. As retouching can get really monotonous, and that job was always a lot of fun. And that client was wonderful. I can't badmouth them in any way. They had absolutely every right to go and do what they did.
Right.
I was under contract. They just used me so often because they liked my work. But they did explain to me that they did what they had to do because the photographer insisted on using his own guy,
his person.
And that was that. And I guess they're using him again and again. So because I haven't heard from them. That's that.
Here's a random question. What's the worst job you've ever had?
Well, aside from I had pretty basic jobs. I did retail when I was a kid. I worked in clothing stores like Aeropostale.
Oh, really?
And Levi's and folded jeans and shit.
I got to tell you, when I was in college, maybe even high school, I was so tempted to work at one of those retail places like an Abercrombie and Fitch or a Hollister, and I even applied. And I thought I was a shoo-in to get hired, and I didn't get hired. But looking back, hearing from all my friends, I'm glad I didn't work retail because I think I would have just been bored out of my fucking mind.
Oh my God, that's exactly what. Remember, I mentioned earlier there was jobs that I dreaded. Well, those are the jobs I dreaded.
Retail's bad.
Retail. It was such a boring, horrible. I worked at Aeropostale for 2 years, Levi's for 3 years, then Diesel for 2 years, then D&G for 6 months, and then I was like, I'm done with retail. And then I didn't do anything for another 6 months, and then I got a job in this city doing Scooby-Doo t-shirts.
What in the world?
In Photoshop, I would airbrush Scooby-Doo, Tasmanian Devil, Bugs Bunny.
That's awesome.
WW, I was doing The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's a t-shirt company that had the licenses for all these things. So I would just do that all day. I hated that job.
Really? You hated that too?
I hated it. It was so corporate and so I just felt like an underappreciated cog in a machine. But I learned a lot, and I was only there for a year, but I did learn a lot, and I brought in all my friends. So that was the only way that kept me sane because I got them all jobs there too, and we all it's a fun. Even with them all being there, it was still a job, but we made the best of it. But I learned a lot, and then after that, that's when I got the Q Studios retouching job, and I loved that job. I stayed there for a decade.
Yeah.
That was great.
I was going to ask, when you got out of school, ZBrush probably wasn't even a thing or radar. So what did you want to do?
I wanted to be an illustrator. 3D modeling wasn't even a thing.
Right.
For years, it wasn't a thing until I graduated college in 95. I didn't get into ZBrush until 2013. So in the middle of that, thank God I found retouching because I would have been a miserable bastard. Still folding jeans or something. I don't know.
Folding jeans and dealing with people.
Yeah, like be like a grown man folding jeans, all angry and shit. but still, I wanted to be an illustrator, and that wasn't really working out for me. I wasn't really that good of an illustrator compared to what I'm doing now. That's why I said when ZBrush turned my artwork into what I actually, like, in my mind I saw myself doing. In my illustration, I couldn't pull that off. ZBrush, now I can pull it off.
Yeah, it's
way better. So it's really helped. But yeah, and I got some jobs here and there doing illustration, but nothing in a professional caliber that would sustain a good living.
Can you imagine if you were just this 40-year-old man at Hollister or like Aeropostale? First off, like, what the hell?
Well, I wanted to say I remember they opened the Hollister store in Manhattan, and all the employees were shirtless. They all had to walk around with no shirt on. They were like with their abs out, and I was like, "Oh my god, man, this is insane!" Like every time I went in there, nobody had any clothes on. It was crazy.
It was funny when I went back to Abercrombie. I was like maybe 25, 26. I went in with my friend just for shits and giggles to just walk around in there. So we walked into it might have been Abercrombie or Hollister, one of the two. We walked around in there just to be like, this is funny because these clothes are clearly for high schoolers. And we're walking around in here, and we walked around, and the girl that was working there approached us, and we're both Asian, so we look a little younger, and she goes, "You guys are like good looking guys. I'd like you guys to think about becoming models for us." And when they say models, it means just you work for the store. It's not like you're actually becoming models. I was just like, wait, how old do you think I am? I'm 27 years old. I'm not going to work here.
Yeah, but you still loved hearing that.
I know. It was fantastic. But it was almost like redemption because they rejected me when I was actually, of the age where I wanted to work there.
Right.
And then looking back, then I came back 6 years later and they wanted me back.
How manipulating that is. Like, who's gonna turn that job down?
Oh, not at all.
Oh, I'm gonna be a model now.
Right.
It's just a stupid name for someone who's not wearing a shirt but folding their clothes.
Right. It's exactly that. It's you are in the front of the house folding the clothes and saying hi to people.
Looking really good, but getting minimum wage.
Right.
Back then, minimum wage was shit.
Oh, I bet. It's either you're a model, or you run the store like you're a manager, or you are in the back, which is the worst job.
Well, that's just I did all of those things. Yeah. I was in the front for a while, and then I did back stockroom stuff because I got sick of doing the front. And it's like after a while, it's like I'm sick of it all. I don't want nothing to do with this. I'm squandering my skills folding jeans because I knew I was an artist and I wanted to be creative, and this wasn't. But what sucked me in was like I got discounts on clothes, and that's I like the clothes, so it's like shit. I can't afford these jeans. What's the employee discount? All right, can I get an application? That's literally how I got my first job at Aeropostale. They had pants in the window that I wanted, and I couldn't afford them, which is funny because they were $40.
Right.
And I thought at the time that was a lot of money.
Sure, I bet it was at the time.
Well, it kind of was.
Kind of, yeah.
It kind of was, especially compared to now, where jeans are like they could be $300, which is absurd. But $40 at the time, I guess that was like 1988. Were you even born yet?
88. I was 87.
A toddler.
I was 87.
You were born in 87. Yeah. Wow. I was as a joke. I said when you were a toddler, you weren't. You actually weren't even a toddler. You're still an infant.
I was very small. I was born the day after Christmas, December 26th, 1987.
Oh, that's nice.
But I was probably I was probably not even coherent. Nothing like basically just a baby vegetable.
Do you guys celebrate Christmas?
We do, yeah.
So is that kind of a letdown when your birthday got all jammed up with Christmas, so they consider it one thing? So, or do you actually have the big party the next day too?
There's been an evolution to this. So, as a child, since I'm an only child, Christmas was my favorite because I would get Christmas presents and birthday presents. I'd get double, so it felt like Christmas was my jam.
They'd split it in half, kind of.
Yeah, they'd give me both. So it wasn't like some people are like, oh, so you would just get one gift. They're like, no, I would get both. I would get Christmas and birthday. And every Christmas they would also bring out a cake and it would be my birthday. Like, this is the most amazing thing ever. But now as I've gotten older, I don't get gifts, obviously, other than like from either a significant other or a close friend or something like that, or a parent. But I don't really get any gifts. I want to go out on my birthday, and no one wants to go out because it's the day after Christmas, so no one's going to go out that day. And then the thing is, too, is it's bookended with Christmas, and then the next big thing that everyone goes out for is New Year's. So literally, there's no time to celebrate my birthday. So now I'm like gypped, and I hate it.
Right.
I mean, I enjoy it, but
I had a feeling.
I still enjoy having my birthday the day after Christmas because it's fun. Like, it's funny to be like, oh, I always joke around that Jesus came first and then me second.
Yeah.
And I joke around that Christmas Day is Tony Miss Eve, and that my birthday is Tony Miss. But
Tony Miss, Tony Mass,
Tony Mass, Tony Mass, Tony Miss, whatever. But there is a feeling of, man, there's really no time to actually celebrate my birthday anymore.
Right, it's like right after Christmas. Because my mom's birthday is the 28th.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
same
right
thing,
in between
almost.
Christmas and but it, and to be honest, her birthday definitely gets lost in there, and we try to squeeze in the happy birthday while we're already celebrating the Christmas. And
right.
She definitely has gotten gypped out of many celebrations, but she doesn't care.
Yeah. I mean,
I know that would have bugged me if that happened to me.
Yeah, it's been a interesting evolution because, like I said, as a kid, loved it. As an adult, it's been like, oh, that sucks.
Think about all the people whose birthdays are on September 11th.
One of my old boss's birthday is on September 11th, and that's always so weird.
Yeah, that's got to be.
It sucks. Anything, yeah. I mean, September 11th is. Yeah, that's horrible day to have.
Especially if you're kind of old, like if you're an adult and your birthday was September 11th, it was just a regular day up until 2001,
right.
And then so if you were having fun on your birthday from that point forward, you were never having fun on your birthday again.
No, it's always going to be this weird thing where even if you say your birthday is September 11th, people are just like, oh. That sucks. Like
they look at you like you're a dick.
Right?
Like, why'd you pick that?
It's like, dude, I didn't pick it. Yeah, I didn't pick it. It's just a day. It's just a day that's forever memorialized as this horrible day. That sucks, man. Well, we are coming up on an hour 45. So we've been going for a bit. Before you go, is there anything you want to plug or talk about?
Yeah, there's so much I want to talk about, but I can't say any of it. So I'm going to have to say the only thing I could say is that I'm coming up on G-Fest. So anybody planning to go to G-Fest, keep an eye out.
It's out in Chicago, yep.
Yeah, I'll be over there. After that, I think New York Comic-Con. Let's go check that out. That's back, but that's in October, so we got a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I have random toys coming out. I can't really say who's making them or who I'm working with on them, but I do have a bunch of toys coming out with other toy companies. Hopefully another X Plus.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll keep you posted on that.
Oh yeah.
And I have awesome things going on that I just can't talk about. So hopefully one of these days I will. So that's it.
Where can people find you?
Dopepope, at Dopepope on Twitter and Instagram.
And the zeros for O's. Yep. Make sure you say that. Because
somebody else took it first. And ArtStation, I'm on ArtStation, I'm on DeviantArt. I'll just always look for Dopepope anyway. And
if anyone,
you'll find me.
And if anyone wants to reach out to you for commissions, is there a direct way?
That's how you get a hold of me.
That's how you do it. Okay, cool.
I'm always happy to hear what you have in mind. I can't always take the commission, but if it's interesting enough, or if I have the time, I will always say yeah.
Perfect, man.
To a very interesting commission, so that's for sure.
Cool. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you taking the time to chit-chat with me for a little under 2 hours here. I'm sure you're a busy man.
No, this is cool.
Cool, man.
Thanks for considering me.
Of course, man. Of course, you're a cool guy. Well, I'll see you soon.
This is a Danger Entertainment podcast. DangerEntertainment.net. Danger Entertainment Podcast Network.
And welcome to the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. I'm Sean.
And I'm Ian.
Hey, Ian.
Yeah.
Did you know you could find us on the Danger Entertainment Network?
Danger
Entertainment. That's right.
Sounds dangerous.
It is. It's a tad bit dangerous. You'd be shocked to find that out. There's a bunch of great podcasts you can find there. Our friends from the History of Bad Ideas podcast, Who the What Now, The Sodded Geek. No, they retired. That's right.
They retired.
But there are a bunch of other great podcasts you can find there, along with us. You know, we're the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast, and we do pop culture and chili cheese dogs and whatever else floats our fancy.
Yeah.
Check us out.
For sure.
For sure. We're on most podcatchers, so give us a look.
Peace.